Good day, everyone. Hope you're doing well. This is Tony again, your captain for citizenship and residency by investment programs. Today, for the first time in our episodes, we are having our episode online by one of the video call platforms due to the hot topic of what we are going to discuss today. And we are having with us a very dear friend and gentleman that I know for the last 6 to 7 years, if not more. Of course, ستيفن with us. ستيفن Papa is the founder and the principal of Saratoga Capital, the company that they are specialized in Portugal investment fund. ستيفن, would you like to tell us more, especially for the audience, more about you and even also about the company?
Thank you very much, Tony, and it's very nice to see you today. Saratoga Capital has been on the market since 2008. We have worked in a number of investment migration programs over the years. Of course, we did real estate like many people as well, but we're focused for at least the last 10 years on funds and fund options for investment migration. What we do is we focus on private equity and corporate investment. And we raise capital through Golden Visa in order to place capital and bring a decent return to our investor base that's invested in our fund. I am the principal behind the fund. Actually, I'm one of the original clients of Golden Visa because like many of your clients out there, I have the same issue. I'm a Canadian by birth. And so consequently, I don't have a European passport, so I was looking many years ago about how to obtain a European passport, and we decided to create our own Golden Visa fund for myself and my colleagues, and it was initially for friends and families, and I'm one of the clients of the fund. How does the fund work? So the fund is basically organized to raise money through Golden Visa, and we invest in 3 areas of investment. The first investment area is private equity or company shares and investments in either not young companies, but good companies that have an opportunity to expand. So they need expansion capital, or they have, for example, many companies have succession issues, and that, the third generation doesn't want to continue on in the family business. So we enter the business that way. The second type of investment we do is in corporate lending, so secured lending to various companies that we either control or have an interest in, or third-party companies, as long as we have a sufficient security package. So consequently, we try to maintain that the debt is protected. And then the third aspect of our investment strategy is obviously in listed instruments. So that is to maintain liquidity. And there we invest, for example, in U.S. treasuries and other securities and for example, Eurobonds. And that's generally the nutshell of our investment strategy at the Saratoga Capital Golden Visa Fund.
That's great. And ستيفن, allow me to highlight something very important, that you've been specialized in investment fund for the last 10 years, even before cutting down the real estate option. So the experience out of all of this investment option was not only because the Golden Visa program was having switch between the real estate option to the investment fund, because the investment fund started already back more than 10 years ago, but you were specialized even also with the investment fund, and that's what expertise, let's say, require to have someone with them to walk through the investment fund and even also to make it as safe as possible at the end. Our main talk today is something really, that's why it is a hot topic. What is really going on in Portugal? Can you just give us more ideas, thoughts about the switch that it was? Some of the people, they were saying that it is expected. Some of the people, they were saying it is unexpected. And then some of the people, they were saying also that it might affect the Golden Visa program. Some They are saying it will not affect the Golden Visa program. What is really going on? What you hear in the closed doors meetings related to this issue?
Yes, I mean, we're very familiar with the Golden Visa program and the situation. And this is not the first time this has happened. As you know, back in 2021, they changed the Golden Visa program, for example, on funds, because at that time, real estate was 500,000 euros investment, and you could buy a residential property in Porto or Lisbon, for example, or on the coast. And it was a 350,000 euro investment in funds, and then they changed it at the beginning of 2022 to equalize the numbers. Then again, they removed, for example, the ability to invest in personal residencies. You had to invest in commercial properties under the real estate option. And then obviously in 2023, the former prime minister decided to do away with Golden Visa in completeness, and he tried to do an announcement of the Council of Ministers, and it took them around 6 months to make some changes to the Golden Visa. So what we are seeing today in the Golden Visa is pretty much in line of what usually happens every couple of years in Portugal in relation to this program, because there is a constant fight politically between the conservatives and the more liberals, the right and the left of the political spectrum, and both of them are positioning obviously for votes. And Golden Visa, like any investment migration program, always becomes a highlight of political infighting. Sure. So going to the present situation with the present government. So they ran on an election platform to eliminate much of the excess in the migration industry in Portugal, because Portugal is not just about Golden Visa. There are other options also under the Portuguese legislation. So, for example, if you are a migrant and you come to Portugal and you live there for 5 years and you're there, you can obtain citizenship and all of this. And much of this has resulted in abuse of the system. And so the pushback right now, the changes that are trying to be enacted by the government are to eliminate this abuse of the legislation. So the focus is not on Golden Visa, because the government, which has basically the majority with its other partners in the government, the other political parties, understands that they require the foreign direct investment into Portugal, and Portuguese Golden Visa is a very good aspect of that direct investment, and also they want to continue to have real estate purchases and investment in industry, etc. So the focus now is to eliminate the excess abuse in terms of the other parts of the program and general people coming to Portugal and obtaining a Portuguese passport for them and their family, and to make that a longer process where they have to demonstrate a greater commitment to Portuguese society and to maintain at the same time the investment option under Golden Visa, which is a highly flexible program. So that's the thinking of the government. Now, obviously, there are different political parties in the parliament. There is a far-right party that wants to do away with everything, but that neither holds power nor it has control over the government. And then there's a far-left-leaning party that just wants to get rid of Golden Visa and expand the other programs. Again, that's the opposite extreme. But the general consensus of the middle of the Portuguese political system and also Portuguese society and the business community is to maintain the utility of Golden Visa.
Mm-hmm. So you see that from let's say from all the aspects now with the government, and even also with the majority of the parliament, that they want to continue with the Golden Visa. And do you think that they wanted to tighten up the regulations or make it even more required in terms of period of the years? Instead of 5 years, it will be 10 years. What do you see that the changes it might affect the Golden Visa in general?
So presently under Golden Visa, there are two main aspects of note. So first, when you make an application into IMA, which is the agency in respect to investment migration or citizenship in investment migration in Portugal, the moment that you make your filing with IMA is the time when the time starts for your 5-year window until you can apply for a Portuguese citizenship for you and your family. And the second aspect is obviously the 5 years. The government has spoken about eliminating the time starting at the moment that you file, but actually when your application has been accepted, and also increasing from 5 years to 10 years the route to Portuguese citizenship. But they are not speaking in this respect in regards to golden visa, the investment migration visa, right? They're speaking in this respect to the other avenues to Portuguese citizenship. Because right now, if you and I were to turn up in Portugal on a boat and end up there, we can spend 5 years, and from the moment we're there, 5 years starts to tick in terms of us becoming a Portuguese citizen. And also, in addition to that, if, for example, our spouse or partner has a baby in Portugal after 1 year of being there in Portugal, that child is born immediately as a Portuguese national. This has created abuse. So the government is trying to eliminate these aspects in relation to the other avenues for route for residency and citizenship, but not for golden visa. So they are not speaking about golden visa. When they have these arguments in the parliament, it's primarily due to these other avenues, not golden visa. And it's very important to note, Tony, that all that has happened in Portugal, because I know it's been a lot of media, et cetera, all that's really happened in Portugal was there was an announcement of the Prime Minister after the Council of Ministers meeting. And there have been discussions now slowly happening in the Parliament at the committee level. But no legislation has been instituted, nothing has been voted upon. And Portugal notoriously is a very slow process in terms of the fruition of government regulations or legislation from the moment they're introduced to the moment that they're passed. So right now the program is set as it is, and until any new changes are gazetted in the official monitor of the Portuguese Republic, there are no changes to the Golden Visa program.
I see. So and from all of this topics, let's say that especially that you have mentioned, they are not really discussing at the moment the golden visa. They are more discussing the other options. What we can consider a part of the refugee issues in general. Are they also discussing the other options, which is that's what now become a very familiar and popular, and I can say that at least in our region is misinformed process, which is the D2 and D7 and D8 as well. So do you think that there will be differentiation in the aspect of the golden visa and then even this other investment or let's say other immigration programs in Portugal?
So I believe there will be changes to the other options. So for example, you have the digital nomad or the D7 or the D8, I mean, the various categories, and not just considering refugees, but also in Portugal, for example, if you're a European national and you move from, for example, Romania or Bulgaria, and you live in Portugal and you declare your residency in Portugal, after 5 years, you can apply for citizenship as well. Now, what Portugal is trying to do is these type of categories are not actually bringing in investment into the country. They're actually bringing in labor, and some labor working and some labor not working, because technically, if you appear and you obtain a digital nomad and you do absolutely nothing in Lisbon or Porto for 5 years, you can theoretically apply. Right? And that is not the purpose of the program. The programs are for the purpose to attract tax base. So this is the main motivator. So the time of people just showing up in Lisbon or Porto, which is a fantastic lifestyle, I can assure you, living there and just having a very nice lifestyle and not actually contributing in any way to society in terms of taxes, etc. Those days are over if they expect that they're going to become a Portuguese national in 5 years for them and their family. So that's what they're trying to tighten up. But for Golden Visa, let's be honest, Golden Visa is a minimum of 500,000 euros in investment in a properly regulated fund. You actually go through an entire process of being vetted by both the banks. And I'm sure you're aware that banks in Portugal ask a lot of questions, and so do we. But, there's AML compliance, KYC, all of this good stuff that's necessary. So basically, that crowd that's coming into Golden Visa through fund options are a highly desirable investment class for the Portuguese government. So that's why I'm trying to make the distinction. So you could expect that programs such as Digital Nomad, other programs such as that will be changed because, again, they are not financially contributing in any meaningful way like Golden Visa to the Portuguese tax base. That's the main motivator of the government. Now, please understand that in the parliamentary committees, there are obviously people on the far left that are saying, why should we allow Golden Visa where these rich people, so to speak, are putting in 500,000 euros for them to get a citizenship, but whereas these other people are showing up and working and they're being denied citizenship. And the government's retort to that, or the response, is yes, because the 500,000 people are actually contributing quite a lot to the tax base because there are governmental fees, et cetera, and plus it's going into the Portuguese economy. And the other people, although they are very useful and we really do want to have them, they should have a longer period before they become Portuguese. That's the argument right now.
Okay, great. So from all your experience, let's say over 10 years in Portugal, whether in the Golden Visa and whether in the investment fund, whether also living in Portugal most of your, let's say, days for the last 10 years, what do you expect that the effect will be on the Golden Visa? So, like analyzing this and then reading between the lines and having all of the aspects all together, what do you see the Golden Visa will go, and when do you expect even the changes will take place, if there will be any?
So, as you know, we're in July. The Portuguese government is effectively shut down until middle of September. There are people showing up in Parliament for work, but most people are starting to head towards vacation. So you should not expect any legislative changes to actually start to be seriously debated until middle to late September. And this is the same situation that happened in 2023 under Mr. Antonio Costa, his government, when he was prime minister, and he tried to do away with Golden Visa in all aspects. And they had quite a lot of discussions and arguments from March until June. Then the place kind of quieted down, and then it started up in late September. But Mr. Costa at the time had an absolute majority, so he could push it through. This government does not have an absolute majority, so that means that there has to be a lot of discussion and compromise between the various parties. So this means that it will take longer than late September. So you should expect, if there are any changes to the Golden Visa or the program generally, it should be around October. So that is the expectation. Now, in terms of the changes, I believe that what they are going to do at the end, and there will be quite a lot of discussion and argumentation, and the press will be all over the place. I believe at the end, what they will do is they will maintain the 5-year rule for Golden Visa, and they will increase the rule to 10 years or maybe 7 years for everyone else. For example, in Cyprus, where we have been in that city, it no longer exists, but 10 years ago, there was a Cyprus citizenship investment program. The Cypriot government, even today, under permanent residency or leading to citizenship, they have a certain category for for example, IT people who are, invested here. Yeah, they're much faster. They're fast-tracked vis-a-vis other investors or other people entering the program. So this is what the Portuguese government is trying to do. And I think it's legal and it's acceptable. But it will take them several months to get this worked through. But they, under no circumstances, and this is my speaking to people fully knowledgeable of the government and its thinking, their interest is to not jeopardize the Golden Visa program.
That's great. My last question for this amazing information, to be honest. Now the government, let's say the changes in general. Let's assume that the changes will be in middle of September, as example. Will it affect any application to the citizenship, not to the Golden Visa, if the application was submitted to IMA before the changes applied?
Yes, that's a very, very good question, Tony, and that actually is the $1 million question. And this is exactly what happened in 2023 with the Costa government. So under Portuguese law and constitutional law, a government cannot pass a law that has a retroactive effect for anything that happened before the passing of that law. So this means that let's say just theoretically, on the 1st of October, the government passes a law and it becomes gazetted. So it goes into the official gazette of the Portuguese Republic and it is passed and promulgated, that it says everyone for now on and from before, it takes 10 years. That's unconstitutional. It is only from the moment that the law actually changes on the time that it is officially gazetted that new requirement comes into place. So for everyone else, all of our existing investors, everyone else who is in the various programs in Portugal, they still operate under the old law. So, for example, if I were to take an investor in today or in August or in September, and they were to submit to IMA, they are still under the old law, and their time to citizenship starts immediately as they file their application, and they only have a 5-year period before they can apply. It is only after the changes are gazetted that the changes will become effect. So there's no retroactive effect. And this was what Mr. Costa and his government tried to do in 2023, and it was declared unconstitutional. So again, this government will not be able to do it either.
That's a great. And then even also on our phone call last week, we were discussing few matters about the expected changes. And then you were saying that it could be, let's assume that the worst case scenario, that after the Golden Visa application, the applicants need to wait for 10 years to be eligible to apply for the citizenship, but not to the permanent residency. So would you explain this in more details, if I may, because it is your idea?
Yes, so let's theoretically
Scenarios. We talk scenarios.
Let's take a worst case scenario, a theoretical worst case scenario. So let's say the government passes legislation that says all people who want to become Portuguese citizens must wait for 10 years. Full stop, no exceptions for Golden Visa, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? First, that will only apply to people after that law is passed and promulgated in the official gazette. So everybody before, it does not apply. But the people going forward, yes, okay, in that 10 years, for example, you will still have the permanent residency under Golden Visa. In addition, you will still have the full Schengen access under Golden Visa. And Portuguese law makes a distinction because at the end of your 5 years in the Golden Visa program, you have a choice. You can either choose to apply for full citizenship as a Portuguese national for you and your family, or you can apply for permanent residency for life, which is, again, a different avenue. And the reason they do that is because some people may not want to have the second citizenship, but they want to have the full Schengen access for the rest of their lives for them and their families, and also to be able to live and work and enjoy Portugal, but they don't require the citizenship. Okay? So the person will still have the permanent residency and Schengen access regardless, because they were accepted in the Golden Visa program. But only the path to citizenship will take longer. That is the only distinction that could theoretically, in the worst case scenario, happen.
Exactly.
And I want to underscore that, you know, the government has made it clear that it does not want to end Golden Visa.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep Golden Visa. And they recognize from a market perspective that if they make it 10 years like everybody else, then it won't be as competitive as other programs. For example, it will be no better than the Hungarian or Greek programs that provide you Schengen access for as long as you hold your investments, but you never have a path to citizenship. So Portugal is in a very good position right now, and they don't want to ruin their program.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So just to reconfirm one thing, let's say with the worst case scenario that if it may happen that the citizenship or the applicants, they will be eligible to apply for the citizenship after 10 years. So after 5 years of obtaining the golden visa, they are eligible to apply for the permanent residency, and then they can wait for another 5 years, and then they will be eligible to apply for the citizenship if, of course, this is the worst case scenario that if ever happened.
Yes, this is correct.
Okay.
So they would have their permanent residency after 5 years, and then eventually they would have, after 10 years, the citizenship. But please note, the beauty of Golden Visa is the fact, and this is a very important aspect that people should understand. The good thing about Golden Visa is that you don't have a full-term residency requirement in Portugal as you go through the program. So you're only required to be there for 7 days a year or 14 days after the first 2 years. And so you're ending up being around 34 days over 5 years, thereabouts. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
And the good thing is that under the tax law, because you're never really in Portugal, you're not paying any taxes because you're not a tax resident. So this is very, very important for the investors because they can still be in this position after they exit Golden Visa, but at the same time they'll have that tax benefit. And we work with our investors and our clients, as you do, to explain the taxes and to manage their tax affairs so that because if they become a Portuguese permanent resident or a citizen, that they don't have a tax impact that would be negative to their existing situation.
Absolutely. In general, in most of Europe, as far as I know, that taxes required you to stay in the country for more than 183 days. And if you don't live 183 days per year, and then you are exempted from tax, or they don't consider you as a resident in the country, so you don't pay tax mainly for the outside income. But of course, any income inside the country, then you have to pay the income tax of what you have inside the country in general. Anything else, Stephen, you want to highlight, let's say, with our talk today, towards all the people who they are interested now to apply for the golden visa, but they are little bit hesitant in general now because of the expected changes in the golden visa laws?
I would say that they should not be worried about any changes to Golden Visa. They certainly should not be worried about any retroactive changes to Golden Visa until any new law is applied. And as we did in 2023, when Mr. Costa and his government came up with the idea to do away with the entire Golden Visa program, we stood by our product and we guaranteed our product to our investors. And we feel comfortable that we guarantee our product to our new investors, and we can work through it with them and make them feel comfortable so that they know that when they apply for Golden Visa, that they have a clear path towards citizenship and they won't have any unexpected results. Because at the end of the day, Tony, I'm a product of Golden Visa too, for example. And, it's funny, the reason I got involved in this was that many, many years ago, my oldest daughter was born. And, I'm Canadian, and the Canadian government, I applied for her Canadian citizenship, and the government said, congratulations, but please be advised that citizenship ends after the first generation born outside of Canada. And that's many Canadians who are working around the world have that same impact. And I was looking for a European passport to give something to my children and eventually my grandchildren. And that's the motivation of everyone who enters this industry as a client. They're looking for the support for themselves, but really for their kids and their grandchildren one day. And and for that, you require one main thing, and that's stability. I believe in that strongly. Our company believes in that, and we stand by our product, and we will make a stable outcome for anyone who invests in Saratoga Capital's Golden Visa Fund. We'll just work through it with everyone as we go forward.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate it. Out of the Golden Visa topic and out of all of this matters topic, what I can see from your background is an AC which is not switched on, and then a window that it is a little bit opened. So how's the weather situation, especially that we're hearing at this moment in July in some of other European countries about maybe a hot storm, if we can call it, and then few people started to go to the hospitals. God forbid, few people also has been died in some of the countries because of the heat. So how's the situation in Lisbon today?
It's incredibly hot. It's 32 degrees today. I shut off the air conditioner so we could actually speak because it's very loud behind me. But the worst thing about it is it's like Canada. We're right on the water, so there's a lot of humidity. But I'm slowly melting away, but you get used to it after a while.
I see. Okay, so I was expecting that the weather could be good, but anyway, Portugal is still, and we are in summer season, and
Yeah,
then
it's summer. I mean, this is normal. This is normal for Lisbon and on the coast. It's around late 20s, early 30s degrees. But it's a lovely summer. It's green. It's always sunny. It's fun.
Well, in our region, let's say, considering the 32 degrees, we call it winter. So, Stephen, really thank you and really appreciate it. It was a great information that we can at least share to everyone who's really interested to apply for the Golden Visa in Portugal, and then what are the outcome and different scenarios, and even the worst case scenario that it could be out of all of this, let's say, discussions now with the government. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the dedication. Looking forward to seeing you in Dubai, and looking forward even also for to seeing you in Lisbon. With my trip will be in Portugal soon. I know that you won't be available, but of course the esteemed team will be there as well. We will have a few talk with them, and then even also with a few investors who they are really interested as well. They will be with us, and then we will have a huge talk about the investment and then the options and all of this related stories. So looking forward, and hope to see you soon, whether in Dubai, whether in Portugal.
Thank you very much, Tony. I wish you a lovely day, and we'll speak soon.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you.
Bye-bye.